Welcome back everyone, Zanev Tech here. Today we're doing a comparison between the Beats Studio Buds Plus and the AirPods Pro 2nd Gens. This one's currently on sale for $199 compared to the retail of the Beats Studio Buds Plus for $170. So which one should you choose? There is quite a bit of similarities, but there's also some differences. So let's get right into this video. Let's talk about the design of the Beats Studio Buds Plus. So this transparent look is definitely a colorway I would go for again and again, because the moment I saw them online, I was like, I have to get my hands on these. They just look really cool. You can see all the internals, the battery, the hinges, and how everything is made on these Beats Studio Buds Plus. And I really wish the AirPods Pro would have a similar colorway, which is probably something that Apple will never make, of course, because they have to keep the traditional AirPod look to them. But it reminds me of the old days with the Game Boys, also having that transparent look, and seeing the internals is extremely cool. But besides the fact of the colorway on these, let's talk about the dimensions. So the Beats Studio Buds Plus are a bit bigger, and I can say they're taller and more wider than the casing on the AirPods Pro. But the weight is about the same, and I can tell you why. The Beats Studio Buds Plus feel a little bit more flimsy and cheaper than the AirPods Pro, and that's probably due to the fact that the Beats Studio Buds Plus have a cheaper casing. So it feels like a cheaper plastic, which is really light, and it's not as hard as the plastic on the AirPods. And you can really tell, especially when you open up the top portion of the Beats Studio Buds Plus, even the magnets are not as strong as the AirPods. It seems like the quality of the products that make up the casing is a lot cheaper than the actual AirPods. But the price difference for both of these retail is quite large, so that kind of makes sense in the lower quality on the Beats line compared to the AirPods line. But let's get right into the actual functionality. So the AirPods Pro has speakers on the bottom so that you can ping the case when you lose these. So in the Find My app on your iPhone, you're able to find the case and the AirPods depending if they're separate or together. However, on the Beats, you can't ping the case, only the buds. So if you lose the case, you're gonna have to look for it yourself and find a way to find where it is. But on the AirPods, when you ping them, you're able to hear that sound that comes out of the actual device to let you know where the casing is as well. But the biggest thing about both of these is the USB-C connection on the Beats Studio Buds Plus compared to the Lightning port on the AirPods Pro. So that is a big deal breaker for some people, because if you're using Android or other devices that have USB-C, then the Lightning port on the AirPods is not really convenient for you, because you have to carry that extra lightning cable, because you might not carry one due to the fact that you don't have an iPhone. So if you have multiple devices with USB-C, I definitely recommend the Beats Studio Buds Plus solely on that reason, the fact that it has USB-C. But both of these have lights on the front, so when you open up the casing, you can see the light on the bottom, and the AirPods have the same thing. So it's a status light to let you know when they're charging and also when they're pairing. So in that fashion, they're both the same. Other things that I do want to mention is the AirPods Pro have a lanyard hole. So you can put on the AirPods Pro on a lanyard and then carry them that way. On the Beats Studio Buds Plus, you would have to get a third-party case that includes a built-in lanyard if you want to carry them that way as well. So besides that, they're pretty similar. It's not that big of a difference between form factors, so that shouldn't really be your deciding factor if you want to get them, depending on the casing. But the main key points is the fact that it is a little bit cheaper. The material is not that great, but the USB-C connection on the bottom is pretty cool. And for the price they are, I can say that doesn't really matter that much. But other than that, let's get right into the buds and describe exactly what's different between both of these buds. The actual buds are quite different and similar. So when you put them side by side, you can see that the actual top portions of the buds are relatively similar. They look about the same, especially with the ear tips. Both of them do come with 4 different sizes for ear tips, going from extra small all the way to large, so that you get that comfortable fit and the best sound quality. But besides the ear tips, the AirPods have a stem on the bottom. So this stem allows you to hold your AirPod in your hand a lot more securely than the small bud for the Beats Studio Buds Plus. And I can say, with someone that has larger hands like me, it's kind of hard to hold these buds in my hand. And also I found a hard time putting them inside the casing and finding the exact way they place into the casing. But over time it did get better. It's just kind of strange that they don't have stems. and they're a lot bulkier when they're in your ear. So I really enjoy the stem on the AirPods because when you put it into your ear, you have more of a flush design going down compared to the Beats Studio Buds Plus. You have that bud that's sticking out. So if you want something more discreet, I could say that the Beats Studio Buds Plus are probably not the best bet for that because of the top portion sticking out. However, the AirPods are a bit more slim. So if you're using like a hat or a helmet or something, the AirPods will probably be better because they kind of go down the side of your head compared to these Beats Studio Buds Plus, which stick out. So that is something that I want to mention because it is a big difference depending on your use case. But functionality wise for both of these earbuds, the stem on the AirPods Pro is a haptic sensor. So you can push down on it to change different settings, let's say the noise control or activate Siri. You can slide it to change the volume up and down. And on the Studio Buds Plus, all you have is a button. There's no sensor. So the fact that there's a button, what it does is when you press it, you can stop and play the music. Then you can hold it depending on the left and right channel if you want to lower or raise the volume. And then you can also assign it to Siri. So you have similar functionality in that sense, but you have one less feature on the Beats Studio Buds Plus. The biggest takeaway for the functionality on both of these buds is the fact that the AirPods Pro have sensors on them. So the sensors on them allow you to detect your ear compared to the Beats Studio Buds Plus, which do not. So the Beats Studio Buds Plus, when you take them out of the case and you're playing a song, they start playing immediately. Even when you put it in your ear and then take it out, it's still playing music. It doesn't automatically stop. So if you're used to that ear detection, it's gonna be kind of strange using the Beats Studio Buds Plus because if you took one out and placed it on the desk, if you wanna talk to someone, then the music never stops. So anyone that picks up the other part of the earbud can actually hear what you're listening to, and it just keeps on going without stopping, and then the battery is also not going to last long if that's the case, compared to the AirPods, which automatically stop as soon as you take them out of your ear. So that is one of the biggest differences on the functionality of the actual earbuds. The ear detection that's missing on the Beats Studio Buds Plus is a downside for me because I'm really used to the fact that I could easily take this out, listen to a conversation or talk to somebody and then put it back in as soon as I want to listen to my music again, and then it's automatically going to start playing on this one if the right one, for example, already has something playing. So the functionality there is what changes the game for the AirPods compared to the Beats Studio Buds Plus. But the overall design is relatively similar, like I said, just the fact that the stem is missing on the Beats Studio Buds Plus. Let's talk about what everyone's here for, the audio quality on the Beats Studio Buds Plus compared to the AirPods Pro 2nd generation. They're very similar, but there's quite a bit of differences as well. The AirPods Pro sound a lot more fuller and more crisp. So I'm no audiophile myself, but I can tell you from all the years I've used with AirPods, the vocals on the AirPods are a lot crisper, and that really is a big deciding factor for me because I like listening to my music and hearing that clear sound. The bass is not quite there. I mean, the AirPods Pro 2nd gens do have better bass than the 1st gens, but they're nowhere near as loud as the Beats Studio Buds Plus. So the Beats Studio Buds Plus, the vocals are a bit more muddy. They sound more further away. They're not as surround sound sounding. And the bass is really strong. So if you're listening to certain music profiles, then I can tell you that the bass on the Beats Studio Buds Plus is a lot stronger compared to the AirPods Pro. So it just depends on what you're looking for. You're looking for more crisp vocals, or you're looking for better bass and less vocals. I think that would be the case with the Beats Studio Buds Plus. I've noticed that on all of their actual products before in the past, that these are more concentrated around bass compared to the vocals on the AirPods, which is really clear. I personally like the AirPods better because I like listening to that clear music and not having to worry about that, excessive bass. And I wish I could increase the vocals on the Beats Studio Buds Plus, but even at max volume, they're pretty much all bass and very little vocals in my personal opinion. But regardless of that, they're not that bad. I can tell you they are worth the money, especially with them being so similar to the AirPods. In medium volume, I can tell you that they're very similar. The bass is always a lot stronger on the Beats Studio Buds Plus, but the overall music and the loudness is about the same for both of these products. So that shouldn't be a big deal breaker for you. Like I mentioned, the biggest thing is what type of music you listen to and what you want to hear out of these actual earbuds. Someone might want more bass, then definitely go for the Beats Studio Buds Plus compared to the AirPods, because the bass is lacking on the AirPods compared to both of these. But other than that, I can tell you that they're similar and you should have no problems with either of these for that sound quality. The one thing I wanted to mention about the Beats Studio Buds Plus though is when I put them inside my ears, I have a slight hissing noise when there's no music playing. So they're just connected to my iPhone, and the moment I, put them in there, they start hissing. And it's kind of weird because sometimes I use my AirPods without any music playing just for the noise cancellation. And I like having that quiet environment. But with these, it's really annoying that you hear like the hissing noise. Maybe it's coming from the electronics inside the buds themselves. But I can tell you that it may be a defect with my current earbuds and not for all of them. But if you notice that hissing noise, it is kind of normal, I think, because I have the exact same one on these Beats Studio Buds Plus. And the noise cancellation on the AirPods is a lot better. So when you turn it on the Beats Studio Buds Plus, you can kind of tell that it's canceling out noise, but there's not that like wow factor. It's not that big of a difference. For the AirPods, the moment you move between off and transparency to noise cancellation, it's a big wow factor. Like you can hear it automatically without any music playing. For the Beats Studio Buds Plus, I can't say the same. And the transparency is also better on the AirPods because the moment I put in transparency mode, I can listen to my music crystal clear and hear people talking to me as well, which is something that it's not that great on the Beats Studio Buds Plus. The last thing I want to mention is the Beats Studio Buds Plus don't have head-tracked spatial audio. So when you connect the AirPods, you have the option to change the noise control in your control center for the iPhone, but you cannot change the spatial audio on the Beats Studio Buds Plus. There's no option there because they only support spatial audio for Dolby Atmos and not for head tracking. So do keep that in mind if you like using that feature of the AirPods, or you've read about it, that the Beats Studio Buds Plus do not have that head tracking movement for that surround sound when you're listening to spatial audio files. So do keep that in mind when purchasing these compared to the AirPods Pro 2nd generation. Let's talk about the functionality of the Beats Studio Buds Plus. So these devices both work on Android, but they work very differently. So the Beats Studio Buds Plus have the same functionality on iOS and Android with the addition of the Beats app compared to the AirPods, which have full functionality on iOS, but they do not have that much functionality on Android because there's no app for them. So if you're looking for something that can work on multiple operating systems, then the Beats Studio Buds Plus is definitely the way to go because of the fact that you don't lose any functionality depending on the operating system that you're using. So if that's something that is a key point for you when purchasing these, then definitely go for the Beats Studio Buds Plus. But besides that, it is missing a few features from the AirPods. So the AirPods have something called ear tip test. So when you choose your silicone tips and you put them both in your ears, it can tell you if the seal is good for the best audio quality. That's something that's not there on the Beats Studio Buds Plus. You have to choose your own silicone tip size and then find out which one sounds the best for you and which one has the most comfortable fit. So that's not a deal breaker for most because you might not be used to those fancy features that the AirPods have. So if that doesn't really matter, then the Beats Studio Buds Plus are perfectly fine. But for spatial audio wise, the AirPods have more features. For example, it has spatial audio that's personalized. So pretty much you take your iPhone and it kind of scans your ear from different angles to determine the shape of your ear and then creates a custom profile for that spatial audio on your device depending on your ear shape. So that is really cool. It's a cool thing to have if you use spatial audio. I don't personally use it that much, so that's not that big of a deal for me. And a lot of people don't even know that this feature exists inside of the settings for the AirPods on your iPhone. So if you want that personalized spatial audio, then definitely go for the AirPods because it is lacking on the Beats Studio Buds Plus. But besides that, the functionality is very similar. Both of them have iCloud Sync compared to the old Beats Studio Buds. They did not. So both of these, when they're connected to your iCloud devices, they share an audio on all devices. So you can use these on your Mac, your Apple TV, your iPhone, the same way you can use your AirPods. They just automatically show up. Every time you open up the casing, it shows up on your iPhone the exact same way. It even shows up on Android devices the same way with the notification that pops up if you have the latest version of Android installed. And it's pretty cool that it's retaining all of that iCloud functionality to have that full functionality across the board. So besides that, they are very, very similar. And I can say that functionality wise, it just depends if you want more premium features for the premium price on the AirPods compared to the cheaper price on here, and you're not having all those premium features. That's just your call and to see what you may want or may not want. So that's just for you to decide. So let's talk about the biggest drawback for the Beats Studio Buds Plus compared to the AirPods. It is wireless charging. A lot of people are used to wireless charging their devices nowadays, and even most Android devices have wireless charging, even reverse wireless charging on their phones. So the fact that this doesn't have any type of wireless charging is a big downside. You have to use that USB-C port to charge them, and you can't charge them on the back of your Android phone that supports reverse wireless charging, so that also falls off the functionality list. The AirPods have wireless charging, but they have additional features with the charging. They can support MagSafe charging, so you can place them on a MagSafe charger and they will hold in place because they have magnets on the case. And they also work on the Apple Watch section of your charger if you have like the MagSafe Duo. So pretty much you can use one charger to charge multiple devices, comparing yourself to using the USB-C cable that you have to bring with you to charge. So you can't just place this on a wireless charger and then have them charged. You know, it is kind of a setback. I really wish they included wireless charging, but I guess they have to make these different from each other so they're not that similar, because functionality wise they are close, but removing some items from the functionality list, I guess, is a way to distinguish both of these products. But battery life wise, the Beats Studio Buds Plus have 36 hours of battery life compared to the 30 hours on the AirPods Pro. Both of these devices do charge inside of their cases, so you have that extra battery life after they run out. The cool thing that I wanted to mention is that when you place the buds back in the case or the AirPods back in the case, for 5 minutes of charging inside the case, you get about 1 additional hour of listening time. So that is exactly the same on both of these devices. So I'm glad they brought that over to the Beats line as well, because sometimes you may have left them outside of the case and they may have, drained, especially how the Beats don't turn off the music when you take them out. That may be something that saves your life because you need earbuds, and with 5 minutes, you can quickly get that 1 hour of charging. But other than that, battery-wise, it's the exact same. Charging is a bit different because of the lack of wireless charging on the Beats case. Finally, you might be wondering which one is for you. I can't give a definite answer because these are made for different consumers. It just depends on what you're looking for. I would say AirPods Pro 2nd Gens are for people that are mostly in the Apple ecosystem and occasionally could go to an Android device and still use them. Or the Beats Studio Buds Plus, which you can use them with both operating systems and have that full functionality, but you're also missing on some features. So it just depends on what you're looking for, and maybe functionality is not that important to you. Maybe it's the sound quality. If you're looking for extra bass, then I would definitely go with these, even on iOS devices or Apple devices, because the bass is a lot better than the AirPods. But if you're looking for vocals, then definitely go for the AirPods. And if you're in the Apple ecosystem, then the AirPods are definitely the win in that choice. So like I mentioned, it just depends on what you're looking for. I personally would use both of these, especially if I had different circumstances. But because I use mostly Apple products and I want to have all the functionality, I go for the AirPods, and that way I can have that seamless connectivity and then also all that functionality compared to the Beats Studio Buds Plus, which are a bit lacking. But overall, the prices are very similar, especially when the AirPods are on sale. So I can say that if these are close in price and a little bit more, I would definitely go for these if you're not using Android devices that often. But if you're using Android devices more often than just occasionally, then the Beats Studio Buds Plus are a no-brainer in that way. So if you like this video, then definitely give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know how I did. If you had any additional questions that I didn't answer in the video, I will definitely comment back and let you know. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel, then also subscribe. There's a notification bell that you can click. That way you can get my newest videos out there when they are released. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Zanev Tech is out.